Canada officially has a population of over 40 million people. In this video, we are going to talk about what this means for the real estate market. My name is Macallum, and if you want to be learning about the Toronto and Canadian real estate markets, then you are in the right place. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto, and we specialize in residential resale. And we're on the ground level every single day helping our clients buy and sell real estate. If you could do a huge favor for me and click both the like and subscribe buttons, I would greatly appreciate it. Interacting with this video will help push my real estate content to other people like yourself looking to learn more. My goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of 2023, and we are well on our way. So share this video with someone if you think they'd be interested in it. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one call with me to chat about buying, selling, or just about the market, you can go to the first link in the description of this video and book a meeting directly into my calendar at a time that works best for you. Now, our population is increasing, which is great because we do have an aging population, and we need additional people in order to fill future job vacancies. In order to accommodate our increasing population, we can simply just build more homes on the massive amount of land we have. But as history has shown us, it's not that simple. Here's the tricky thing though. Our housing starts has been decreasing for quite some time, as we can see from the data from CMHC. Housing starts are down significantly over the past few years, which is impacting our housing market today, and we'll continue to see these impacts over the next handful of years. As a very easy example, if a condo with 500 units was set to start construction today, but doesn't, then we'll experience the negative impact of that in 5 or 6 years when the building was supposed to be ready for occupancy. And this means that 500 units are no longer available for rent or sale, and 500 more families will struggle to find adequate housing options. As we can see here, our housing starts are lining up with numbers we were seeing in 2014 to 2020, when our immigration benchmarks were significantly lower than they are today. So where does that leave us with the most basic of economic principles, supply and demand? Well, in short, not such a great spot. And this isn't even about prices of real estate across the country. It's truly about putting roofs over people's heads. And CIBC released an economic report on Canada's labor shortage and stated, guesstimating the size of the housing shortage in Canada is rapidly becoming a national sport, which is painfully accurate. Every bank and government company tries to estimate the housing shortage, and it seems none of them have the same number. But what is common to all of those estimates is that they are all big. CMHC suggests that we will need an extra 3.5 million units by 2030 to restore affordability. And the province of Ontario is calling for a doubling in the annual pace of housing construction in the province to 150,000. And the reality is that as big as those numbers are, the real gap is even larger, as official figures grossly undercount housing demand by students and non-permanent residents, as we've illustrated in previous research. Even worse, the gap is growing with every day that passes without meaningful action. I've mentioned this in a number of my other videos, but housing starts only occur when developers obtain construction financing. And in order to get construction financing, developers need to sell the suites and homes pre-construction. But if investors, who make up a vast majority of pre-construction purchases, aren't buying because of the current state of the economy, then developers are not going to be building our much-needed inventory. And when housing construction doesn't start, we don't have housing completions in the future. According to StatCan and CMHC, Canada had 219,000 housing completions in 2022. Now that seems like a great, respectable number, but let's break that down a little bit further. According to StatCan, in 2016, the average household size was 2.47 people per household. Unfortunately, in my research of the StatCan site, I couldn't find an updated number. However, many other sources indicated that people per household in Canada in 2022 was 2.5 people. And by using simple math, we can quickly see that in Canada, we built enough housing units for just under 541,000 people. That's all fine and dandy, but how many new people landed in Canada in 2022? 1 million people immigrated to Canada, which means we completed enough housing starts for a little over half of the new immigrants. It's safe to say that these results are pretty less than ideal. But how does Canada compare against other countries in the G7? Again, not so great. We have the fastest growing population of all G7 countries, and we also have the fewest houses per 1,000 people. And then if we focus on Ontario for a second on the right side, we have the fewest homes per 1,000 people out of all provinces. So as you can gather here, it's not really great news across the board. But how can we build enough housing units if we have a labor shortage and low productivity in the field? On the left, we can see the number of construction workers per unit under construction has dropped from 6 to 4 over the past decade. And if we have fewer workers per unit, then we can expect it to take more time to complete a property, as seen on the right side, where 20 years ago, it took about 8 to 10 months, and today it takes close to 25 months. Those entities promising hundreds of thousands, if not millions of homes, must not be looking at the data around our declining construction labor field. With all of this data, what does it mean for the housing market? Well, it means that even with higher interest rates, if we don't see enough housing starts to accommodate our growing population, we could very well experience increased price escalation across both the sale and the rental markets. One thing that is consistently talked about when it comes to immigration and housing is that new immigrants typically don't purchase a home right away, which is correct. We generally see that occurring a few years following. But the issue with this argument goes back to one of my first points in this video, which was it's not about prices, it's about roofs over people's heads. And where do we expect new Canadians to live when they arrive? Well, they're not living on the streets. They're living in rental properties. And the more people who need rental accommodation, the higher it pushes rental prices upwards, making it more enticing for investors to purchase investment properties because the income potential is higher. It really is a vicious circle, all caused by a lack of supply in the housing market. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether a property is a primary residence or an investment property for a rental. A roof is a roof, and someone needs to live under it.